Bro, we look so professional with our microphones and headphones on right now.
Yeah, if you could see outside the frame, though, this place is a mess.
I know, same. I had to tidy my room before I before I logged in here, eh? Right. Yeah. Well, dude, thank you for coming on. And this one's been a long time coming because we were going to do this around the October Halloween season. We were about to do it.
Yeah,
But then I think you had a lot to go on.
We were gonna rank the Halloween movies whenever it made sense to do so.
Could have done it on Christmas time, but like, you know.
Yeah. I just had a busy fall, and just, time got away from me. So it's like, hey, what about Valentine's Day? So here we are.
That could almost be a Valentine's horror, like Halloween horror, like invades Valentine's Day. Like I could see that happening.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like, for the exception of being like, most movies having like a jack-o'-lantern in the background, it's no different than any other slasher. So just watch it whenever.
Yeah, exactly. Halloween all year round for most people. But before we jump into this, is there any new music coming up with Valkyrie AD or anything like that you working on? Or
yeah, I've been writing. I haven't really started recording yet.
Yeah.
The stuff that I've been working on now, I feel like it's gonna be for like a full-length album. So I've got
nice
8. Yeah, I always have to look at how many I'm doing. I'm working on 8 songs right now.
Sick.
And they all feel, I don't know. For anyone who's like listens to all of the Valkyrie shit, it feels like it's returning more to the old stuff where the songs were a little bit longer.
Ooh. Yeah.
I went through a phase where I just wanted stuff to be like very direct and to the point. So all the songs are just super fast.
Yeah.
Or, super quick. So trying to get back to, I don't know, being a guitar player first. So just really hammering out a bunch of riffs.
Yeah.
The problem with that is that I never know when a song is done anymore. So I feel like I'm just delaying it by just keep working on stuff instead of moving on and starting to record. So yeah, there is new stuff coming. I have no idea when that's actually going to be.
Yeah. That's a good thing about self-recording, self-producing it yourself and self-mix it. You can just release it whenever you want, really. Instead of paying somebody to do it and they're like, here's a deadline. You have this and this and this and this to do this.
Yeah.
So you're not really stressing yourself out trying to have it on a deadline or anything like that. But no, I'm looking forward to it, man. Looking forward to it. I did buy a new guitar though. I think I showed you. It's my ESP.
The Eclipse.
Yeah. I told myself no more.
Sure. That's how it always goes.
Yeah. I know, but like when I had Ronnie Simmons from Rose Tattoo, he came to my place for the podcast interview. He signed one of my Les Pauls, and I'm like, now I'm one guitar down. Time to go back to that number again.
He signed
buy another one,
right?
Yeah, he signed my my Sunburst.
Okay, that was the Epiphone.
Yeah, that was the first Les Paul that I bought, so I got him to sign up for me. So
that's cool.
Yeah, it's in the case. It's in the case now, and he picked up my other Les Paul and he started playing that one, my Gold Top, and I'm like, okay, I'm not playing that one either. That one's going back in the case now. And stuff. And I've also I put new pickups in my Strat as well. I've got the Seymour Duncan's hot rails,
Okay.
Yeah, they actually sound pretty good. It's kind of like a mini humbucker, like those, those P90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, similar like that. It's still got a bit of that high gain, which is pretty cool. But if you whack it on a high gain settings on an amp or anything like that, it'll sound freaking crushing.
Do you do all that yourself, or do you go somewhere, take it somewhere?
I know, I do it myself. I watch YouTube videos for like hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yeah, if it's like single coil, and it's just like the bridge pickup or whatever it is, and that's no big deal. Like it's not like you're changing the whole thing or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much I trust myself with the soldering iron. So I usually take it somewhere, but also I know that if I do learn how to do it, I'm probably going to just forever swap out pickups instead of just sticking with something
Playing.
and leaving it alone. So
Yeah, that's the problem with the guitar players these days, man. Every time they're searching a tone, they go through like 20 pickups or something in a day just for that one fucking tone. Like
yeah.
it's just fuck that. But anyway, let's get down to this Halloween ranking. Like what you were saying before, you might disappoint some people with your ranking. I think I've done a really good ranking here. But did you want to start from best to worst or from worst to best?
I like to go from worst to best.
Yeah, you want to go first?
Keep people
I'm
in
interested.
suspense.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear yours because I know how much you're huge on his franchise. I am too, but like, um, you have like really cool predictions about things too on these things.
So do you want to go like all the way through the list, or do you want to go like back and forth, like my 13th, your 13th, or maybe just if we just go straight through, that might be easier.
Yeah, we'll do that.
So I feel like there's always the caveat that you have to give with a ranking, and I feel like number one, this doesn't really matter, you know, like however either one of us rank it, like it's just funny to me to see how upset people get whenever they disagree on movies. But like, if we all agreed on movies, there'd be no need to make more movies. So hey, it's cool if we don't. And also, I don't know how it is for you or for other people, but I usually rank a franchise by like the frequency at which I'm going to rewatch a movie. So just because I place one higher than the other, it has nothing to do with that movie being good or not. It's just the one that I feel like I'm going to watch this one instead of that one.
Yeah.
And I think, like, just as I go through my list, I think that is usually determined by nostalgia or like what had the better experience the first time I saw it. So just to get all that out of the way so nobody hates me, starting with
and lose your followers.
last place number 13, I put Halloween Part 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers.
Yeah.
And I ranked that one so low because I saw that one pretty early when I was a kid. I think I was probably like 10 or 11. And I saw it at a time when I was still like completely terrified of slashers and the Halloween franchise. And that was the first one that didn't scare me. And I remember being so like offended almost that like the movie was just so bad for me.
Was that the one with the weird mask?
Yeah, with like the really long neck. And it was the one that Danielle Harris's character, Jamie Lloyd, like she's just mute the whole time. Until the end of the movie when she calls Michael Myers uncle and he takes his mask off and starts crying. And it's like, what the hell are we doing here? Like, it's just, so yeah, easily my last place. Next at number 12 would be Halloween Resurrection. Because Busta Rhymes does karate and then electrocutes Michael Myers in the dick. And I feel like that's all I have to say about that movie.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
Yeah. Yeah.
The whole line of the movie. I agree.
And I think the story of that movie was that the movie was written and then the franchise owners came in and said, hey, I want you to take this script that already exists and turn it into a Halloween movie. So that's why I feel like there's so many parts of that movie that feel like it's like pushed to be Halloween. Like, oh, and then Michael Myers appears because it was never really meant to be that. But still, I don't know. Not crazy about it.
Yeah.
Next, number 11 is Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers. That would be that is part 6.
Part
That's the
6.
one.
Yeah.
It's the one with Paul Rudd.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
And that one, so for me, I know I just said that I don't consider any of these movies good or bad, but I'm going to contradict myself and say that the last two I think are bad. Curse of Michael Myers is just the least good. Like, it's not like, oh, this movie, it's not that there's 9 movies better, quote unquote, better than this one. I just kind of, when I'm looking at, hey, I want to watch a Halloween movie, I'm going to watch 9 others before I watch this one again. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard for me to articulate why I rank it so low, other than I don't know. I'm just not overly crazy about it. So then number 10, I have part 4, which is The Return of Michael Myers. And this, I think, is probably going to be where I start to upset people, because I see this movie ranked a lot higher. But for me, I just think it's boring. Like, there's not a whole lot that goes on. But what really frustrates me about this movie is the huge cliffhanger ending of, and obviously, like, maybe we should have said at the top, like, spoilers for everybody for all of these, but
Oh, that's fine. They'll be getting spoilers now. I'm sure anyone that's going to be watching or listening to this, I'm sure they've seen all the Halloween movies.
yeah, hopefully. But part 4 ends. It's the return of Michael Myers, but that's also the introduction of Jamie Lloyd, his niece. That movie ends with her like recreating the beginning of the first one, where she's in a Halloween costume and she kills her sister. And it's just huge cliffhanger. And then part 5 starts, and it just doesn't even mention it at all. It's just kind of a waste. But I don't know. The atmosphere of that movie is really cool. I think that movie is one of the ones that feels the most Halloween in terms of the holiday, but just not a lot happens. I don't know.
One question. I know that he has a fucking tattoo. Was it in 5, or it might be in 6?
Yeah, that's in 6.
In
when
6,
he's got the wrist tattoo, and they're like, "Oh, it's because this whole thing is because he's tied to runes and astrology." And it's like, what? I thought he was just a bad guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Cult of Thorn.
Yeah,
that's
well,
that one.
That's it. Yeah, and I did the whole cult thing in that one too. I think I remember it or something like that.
Which I'll get to in a minute, why that's kind of funny to me. But so with the ranking, number 9, I put Halloween 2 from 2009. So Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Because that movie's just weird. There's so much of that movie. There's so much of that movie that every time I watch it, like, the joke that I make is that every time I watch that movie, it gets to the point where I start to wonder if, like, somebody put something in my drink, because it just really goes off the rails, and like all the stuff with the dream sequences and the weird, like, Pumpkin King thing that shows up. Like, but I think the reason I rate this movie as high as I do is because the opening scene, the scene of Laurie Strode, played by Scout Taylor Compton, at the hospital, and Michael Myers is like going on a rampage through the hospital. If that had just been the whole movie, that movie would be incredible.
Yeah.
So I rank that one like kind of near the middle, just because of that. And the rest of it is, like I said, weird. Number 8, I put Halloween H20, 20 years later. Even though it has an incredibly stupid title, I think the premise and the idea is so cool. Like, bringing Laurie Strode back, having this, the first idea of her being damaged as an adult and trying to deal with it is a good idea. I also really liked the idea that it's set place at this, like, prep school that everybody's gone, so it just gives a good reason for why there's no one around to help and why it's so isolated feeling. Obviously that movie has plenty of issues, especially with like the 4 masks that are in the movie, just kind of are weird and takes you out of it, but I don't know. It's just always one that I've enjoyed. That was one that I remember renting when it first came out, which would have been 98. So I was 8 years old and
Yeah.
just like having so much fun with it.
Remember watching it in theaters.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, got the whole theater experience. The cool thing about that movie too, and I know I'm gonna bring it up again when I do my ranking, like LL Cool J, motherfucker. He was a good fit, I must say.
He was, and I have to imagine that a lot of people feel like he did good, and that was why Busta Rhymes was in Resurrection, because I feel like, the late 90s, early 2000s, that was the thing that a lot of movies were doing, where it was like, hey, let's introduce a random musician. But I wonder if the Halloween franchise was like, well, we had one rapper do great. Let's have this other rapper
Yeah,
possibly do great.
probably. Yeah, that kind of flopped.
Yeah. So next for me, number 7 is Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. Again, this is another one. This is another one that I know people rank a lot higher.
Yeah.
But for me, this is again tied to that initial experience. So I saw this movie. My older brother and I were spending the night at our grandparents' house, and I don't even know. I don't even know how old I was. Maybe I was 9. I don't know. But they had, this was back in the day when you would have like the TV program and you would see the schedule for what was going to be on TV. And we saw Halloween 3, 3:00 in the morning. We begged her to set an alarm and wake us up, which she did. She came and got us up at like 2:45. We went out into their living room. We watched the movie. And I remember just being like, looking to my brother more than once and being like, this is the wrong movie, right? Like, this isn't Halloween.
Yeah.
And like, obviously I can applaud that movie for what it is and for what it did. And a lot of people, like to admit now that they liked it all along, even though a lot of people hated it for a long time. And I do think that it's good. I do like it. I do enjoy it. I just feel like there are others that I enjoy more. And there's another reason on why we'll get to that, that you kind of already mentioned, like with the theater experience, but I don't know. I always have a hard time in like trying to figure out how I rank Season of the Witch, because it's clearly not the worst, but for me, it's not top 5 either. So it just kind of always falls in the middle.
Yeah.
But what is going to make that?
Well, as a standalone film, it's a pretty decent movie.
Yeah, as a standalone film, it's a lot of fun. It's got a good, like, quirky premise with, Stonehenge and all that, but I don't know how I'm supposed to put it amongst the other movies when it is so different. So I just kind of put it in the middle. But what's going to make that a lot worse is I now put number 6 as Halloween Ends. So for me, Halloween Ends is top half of the franchise. And there's
I kind of feel like every time I rewatch that movie, it's like I kind of less hate it.
Yeah. I don't know. I understand why so many people dislike that movie. Like I get it. It's not the ending any of us wanted. But I also think that the reasons why people like it, I feel like if the movie had not done those things, they would have still not liked it. Like if people don't like Halloween Ends because it's not Michael Myers. But I feel like if it was Michael Myers, people would also complain because at this point he's in his 60s and he's been living in a sewer for 4 years. And you're like, well, how is he still able to do the things he can do if he's still meant to be human? So, either way, there was a lot going for that movie that I think kind of set it up for failure from the start, just because of what the overarching story is supposed to be. But I don't think it's that bad. And I still think that it's the movie that Halloween Kills told you it was going to be. And I still think that, you know, like you mentioned with the theater experience, I don't think it's a coincidence that my top half are all the movies that I saw in theaters, for the exception of 2 of them. But, you know, Rob Zombie's Halloween was the first I saw in theaters, and then I saw all of the ones after that in theaters. And so
Oh,
just
really?
inherently, I feel like that's what makes me want to rank this movie higher. Like Halloween Ends, I saw in theaters. It was a good experience. I
Mm.
think I knew what to expect going into it, so I wasn't too incredibly deflated. Maybe if I saw it at home, I'd rank it lower. I don't know. I don't know how much that matters, but it's not the bad. It's not a bad. It's not as bad as people think it is. I will accept that it's the worst of David Gordon Green's trilogy, but it's far from the worst movie in the franchise.
Yeah, that's fair.
So if there's anybody still left, we'll move on. And I'll say that number 5 is Halloween Kills, which, again, like, that's just, that movie is just a lot of fun. You know, like if you're wanting just a good slasher, something with a lot of brutality and atmosphere, like I don't think you can go wrong with Halloween Kills. Like, there is a little bit of story, and maybe, you know, some things are done a little too much, like the whole Evil Dies Tonight thing. But
that ruined it for me.
yeah, yeah. But again, like, that's not to sound like a pretentious, you know, like I know anything, but I think that that whole idea of, you know, the town of Haddonfield wants to kill evil is what sets up the next movie, where it doesn't really matter that it's not Michael Myers, because the town isn't actually haunted by Michael Myers. That's why they don't use his name. That's why they don't recognize him. That's why when he escapes, they kill the wrong guy, because they don't
Yeah,
even know what he looks like, because they're more concerned with the shape. But I don't know.
that could have been anyone.
Yeah, it could have been anyone. And, you know, that's why it becomes just anyone, just a character that never existed in the franchise. But I don't know. But Halloween Kills, for its flaws, I still think it's a lot of fun. It's you know, the most brutal that Michael Myers has been in a lot of his scenes. I think it's got one of the best soundtracks. Like, it's just, I don't know. There's a lot really going for that movie. Number 4, I put Halloween from 2018. And this is another one that I like go back and forth on. Is it top 3? Is it top 5? Is it, you know, like, and I think why I struggle with how to rank this one is because, you know, Halloween from 2018 and Halloween Kills are essentially the same night. Like, it's just all one continuous movie. And I think, like, watching them back to back as just like one continuous sit down makes them both better. And
Yes.
one without the other, kind of hard to see where that's supposed to fall. So I think if we didn't have Halloween Kills, maybe Halloween 2018 wouldn't be top 5. But
Mm.
I don't know. There's also just, I remember being like so excited for that movie, and like all the fan service that it does with, you know, the hints to the original, and you know, bringing back the mask, bringing back a lot of the cast. Like, I think that just because of that initial experience, like I've said before, like, of just being so excited for it and having fun in the theaters and feeling like it really paid off, like, probably is why that movie ranks a lot higher for me than maybe it does others. It does seem like a movie that, you know, people considered it the best in the franchise, and then 5 or 6 years went by and people are like, yeah, maybe it wasn't that good. So I don't know, maybe it is or not, but for me, it's number 4. And then number 3 is Rob Zombie's Halloween, which, again, people are going to be like, what? But that, like I said, that was the first one I saw in theaters.
Yeah.
I was I was 16 when I saw it, and like I make the argument that there is no better time to watch a Rob Zombie movie than when you're 16 years old. Like that movie just had everything that, you know, I was looking for, with how vulgar it is and how over the top it is, and just I don't know, I had such a blast with that movie. Um and you know, you mentioned before the thing about the Cult of Thorn. What's funny to me is the reason why a lot of people don't like Rob Zombie's Halloween, aside from the, you know, the dialogue, is
Yeah.
that people say, you know, like, oh, he ruined it because he gave Michael Myers a backstory. But then people love the Cult of Thorn trilogy, which is parts 4, 5, and 6, which is all about giving Michael Myers a backstory. So I've never
Mm.
really understood the argument that, you know, oh, because there's a story here, it's not any good. Like, I don't know. I just don't agree. I just think it's fun. And I think it's exactly what you get if Rob Zombie makes a Halloween movie. So people
Yeah.
really should have known what they were signing up for.
Well, I don't think he really wanted to do a remake of Halloween. I think who was it? Who was the movie company that was doing the movie?
Dimension, I think.
Yeah, I think they came up to him and saying, "Look, we want to do another Halloween franchise or something, another Halloween movie."
Yeah, either Dimension or Miramax. I think Dimension, but they kind of pushed him into doing the sequel too, and that's why the
Yeah, which he
sequel
didn't want to
is
do.
yeah, that's why the sequel is like really off the rails, because that was him just being like, hey, you're gonna get what you get this time.
Yeah, I feel like I kind of feel like it was rushed a little bit too.
The first one or the second one?
Second one.
Oh yeah, yeah. The second one was I remember, or at least how I remember it was like the second one was like you didn't hear anything about it, and then it was like, oh, there's a Halloween movie in theaters. But I don't know, maybe that's not the way it actually happened, and maybe that's just where I was at that time. But yeah,
Yeah,
it does seem rushed. But so number 2 for me is Halloween Part 2 from 1981, the original sequel. What's funny about this movie is, as a kid growing up and renting all the movies, this was the last sequel that I saw, and I remember going to the movie, you know, store to rent it, and
yeah.
it always being like out of stock. So maybe that should have been my first clue that this is one of the better sequels, because someone else always had it. Um, but I enjoy the movie. I think this is similar with Halloween and Halloween Kills, where it's all supposed to be a continuation of the first movie. So if you're able to watch them both back to back, it makes them both a lot better. It especially makes the second one a lot better, in my opinion. But I don't know. It's a good sequel. It, you know, I think it sets out to do what it intended to do. And so it falls in number 2 for me, which means that number 1 would be the original.
Yeah,
And
of course.
I know that like there are other franchises where I don't ever rank the first one as part 1 for me, or part 1
Yeah,
as the first rank for me, which makes me like those franchises a lot in their own right. But for Halloween, like I just don't think it gets much better than the original. I think we talked about this the first time I was on, but that was my like introduction to horror. So again,
yeah.
there's that like nostalgia of, you know, this was the first time I became hooked on all of this garbage. So it's just always, it's going to be very hard to like ever beat that movie out just for that reason alone. Like you can take out story writing and legacy and cinematography and all that. Like you strip, if the movie, like I almost think that if any of them was the first one that I saw and it was the one that like sparked all of it, it might be number 1 for me just for that reason alone. So
Nice,
that's my list.
nice, nice.
Took me almost
Would you
30 minutes.
would you classify Halloween, the first Halloween movie, the original, a slasher or psychological? thriller?
I guess I that's a good question. I guess it depends because I think if someone were to see it today, they wouldn't consider it a slasher because,
Mm,
obviously there's no blood. Um, the kills are fairly tame, if not off
yeah.
screen. Um, but psychological horror might be tough because I don't know if there's enough maybe character development for it to be psychological. I don't know. I don't know how I would, if I saw it today, how I would classify it. But I think
Mm,
to kind of always be a slasher makes sense because, in 1978, when it came out, there weren't a whole lot of other options of, Black Christmas and Texas Chainsaw Massacre being two of the big ones that had a similar formula would be the only way that I guess you could classify. I don't know.
it's a tough one.
You can almost just call it like an action thriller with just spooky music.
That or just a thriller, really.
Yeah. Yeah. Just a thrill. Yeah.
Yeah, I've asked like my guests, the last couple of guests on that one, and um, they were stunned. They didn't know, And I told them like, to me, it's sort of like a thriller, less horror. Look, it's back then it was scary. If you watch it like 30 years now, from what now, like it's not that scary anymore. But no, solid. All right, so with mine, number 13, Halloween Ends. Um,
No way.
Again, yes, I did. And I reckon my subscribers might go up for this one. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I picked it
you need to win some people over again after. Like,
after
what the hell
your
was that
list.
guy? What the hell was he talking
Yeah,
about?
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, the storyline, I wasn't really expecting it. I did see this one in theaters with high expectations. I remember you and Zach were talking about the conspiracy theory behind Halloween Ends and how you think it might end and stuff like that on Death Comes Lifting when you were on there a few years ago. I did like the opening scene. I thought the opening scene with Corey as the babysitter
Oh yeah.
and the kid was friggin' hiding. And just out of nowhere, he just kicks the door and all he just sees is poof, and the parents come in. Or the parents come in when the kid falls down. But like I thought the storyline was okay, but I kind of felt like it was just too lovey-dovey, you know what I mean, between Corey and what's
Allison.
her name?
Allison.
Yeah. I always called her Annie. Yeah, I kind of felt like it was a little bit of that love story shit that kind of just ruined it for me. But other than that, the kills were cool. The creative kills and that, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. I'll give it to you that there's a little bit, too much heart gets in the way, but I don't know. Maybe I can admit too that I'm just difficult and hard-headed. So whenever I'm like, hey, I think this is what this movie's going to be, and it ends up almost being exactly that, like, I'm just gonna be like, hey, well,
yeah,
I'm not gonna consider it bad because then that would make me the idiot for having a bad prediction.
Even Danny McBride will friggin' will defend the movie. But yeah, it's on at number 13. Number 12, put Halloween Resurrection. I just think the whole concept behind it was just stupid. It's kind of like watching Big Brother. Or it was kind of like a B-rated version of Saw, really.
Well, and that was that era of like, MTV, everybody having like a webcam on, just being like, and like I said, like I think that movie wasn't supposed to be Halloween, so like all of the stuff that movie was maybe could have worked for at that time, but then they try to overlay Michael Myers into it, and it sucks.
Yeah. The number 11, I put Halloween 5. I remember going to the video store when I was like maybe 13 years old, maybe 14, maybe. Yeah, I rented that, and I thought it would be cool. Then I remember putting it on, and me and a mate was watching it, and we were just like, eh.
Yeah.
Just like the whole storyline was just you know. It would have been nice to see Jamie Lloyd's character in 6, because it was played by someone else.
Yeah, and I think that was like money issues.
That, and I think they wanted someone a little bit older at the time too.
Yeah. And that was why they ultimately just like
Killed her off.
Like fairly gruesomely too. Like
Yeah.
Didn't have to go that hard on it, but I think it was really kind of a middle finger to Daniel Harris.
Yeah. Could have just let her run away.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And the number 10, I switched last minute. So I put Halloween 4 as number 10. I remember renting this one. I was young as well, and I still remember this, and I still tell my sister about this fucking story. I remember when I was looking after my sister, me and my mate was watching this, and my sister thought it was a good idea to actually pick up a knife and run around the house and chase after me, and started laughing. Yeah, exactly. I still remind her about that story too, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I remember." And I'm like, "Yeah, you do remember."
Remember that time we were all having fun and you tried to kill me?
Yeah, she thought it was fun. Yeah, I didn't rate it. The storyline was all over the shop. I believe that was Daniel Harris's first major movie role.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. She was great in that, but yeah, I don't know. I thought the acting was a bit on that one as well. The storyline was okay. Number 10, so I'm up to number 9. Number 9, I got Halloween 6. The worst one out of them all, but I ranked that one a little bit higher because I actually like that one more than Nans. It's out of boredom, I can actually watch 6 again if I'm really bored.
Yeah, 6 is 6 is a hard one to rank because like I was never a fan of the cult stuff and the runes, but I also think Michael Myers looks kind of cool in that one. Like I like that mask.
With the mask? Yeah.
The mask and the get up, like he's just seems a bit taller, seems a bit bigger. And there are some cool kills on it. So, but I don't know. I think it's the random tattoo shit showing up but anyways.
Yeah. So what are we up to now? 9? No, we did 9.
Yeah.
We did 9. So number 8 will be Halloween Kills. The only issue with that movie I had was the whole riot act thing, that evil dies tonight. I really like the opening scene. The opening scene, how it starts off back to the house. The flashback, the flashback, and then it moves into the burning house, and it just like completely destroys the whole friggin' fire department crew. I thought that was really cool. The only problem I had about that movie is that big fight scene, how everyone had bats, knives, and shit, and one lady had an iron in her hand. What the hell?
Oh, I don't know if I noticed that.
Yeah. I'm just like, this is not Grand Theft Auto, man. Like,
yeah, right.
Yeah, like out of everyone in the bloody crowd, like she's the only one that's holding an iron.
Hey, you just grab whatever's around, okay?
But it's a decent movie. I watched that one in theaters. Um, it was a good experience to watch in theaters. It's always good when it's a horror movie like that. Number 7, I put 2018. I actually thought this one was actually pretty good. I kind of feel like it was a little bit overhyped, only because it was like the first Halloween movie in what? How long now? Like a long time.
At that point, it would have been 9 years.
Yeah. The storyline, I thought it was cool. The guy that played Michael Myers, what's his name? Is it Drew Courtney? Michael James.
Is that his,
Drew.
is that his name?
I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember his name.
James Jude Courtney, I think it is.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he'd done a fantastic job for those last 3 Halloween movies in that franchise. I loved it how they went to the asylum and they you sort of have sort of that little small glimpse of his head when he's about to turn around and stuff like that. I thought that was pretty cool. I really liked the aging of the mask. Instead of having the same plain old friggin' white mask that he had for the last 30 or 40 years or whatever it was. It was always cool. Jamie Lee Curtis was amazing on that one. And like even like some of the actors and actresses that I've never heard of before seeing that movie, I thought they were all good. The way how it ended for 2018, I thought it was perfect because you knew straight away there was got to be another one.
Yeah.
The way how it ended. Number 6, I thought Halloween. What's that? Sorry.
The way it ended was that there was going to be another one, but it was going to be somebody else.
Yes. Which I thought it was too, to be honest, because like it happened with at the end of Halloween 4 or 5 or whatever it was.
At the end of 4, yeah, it was supposed to be the niece, and then it just never went anywhere.
Another cool thing with 2018, I kind of feel like I had a vibe of like the first 2 Halloweens with a bit of Halloween H20 in it.
In what way? Like the comedy, maybe? Like
a bit of the comedy. Yeah, I kind of just feel like I had a little bit of that Halloween, like the first Halloween vibe and like the H20 vibe.
Yeah,
into it, which is cool. Number 6, I put Halloween H20 because that was a fun movie to watch in theaters.
Yeah, I bet that was
a cool
theater experience.
You remember the scene where the school, the teacher accidentally shoots LL Cool J in the ear?
Yeah.
And he's like, then Michael Myers just comes from behind and just like gets him from behind and lifts him up. That made me jump.
Oh, yeah?
Because it was one of those ones that was just like, I like a good jump scare, and that was a good jump scare for me. I remember back in the day where they used to have like the movie posters on like the newspaper as like ads, and they were showing the next movies that will be coming up in this theaters near you.
Mm-hmm.
That cover of Halloween H20 actually scared me for some reason, and I think it's because it was Michael Myers' mask. How it's just like the half face look, and they got the characters with a knife or whatever it was in the front.
Yeah.
That scared me, and that was the reason why I wanted to go to theaters to watch it. So I put H20 at 6. The number 5, I put Halloween, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. I was going to rank it lower because then, like I was saying to you before, I think it's like the more times you watch it, I think the more you less hate it. Like the more you like it, enjoy it more. Yeah, like what you said, this movie was nuts. At first, I was just like, what the hell did I just watched type of thing? Because like, it was kind of cool to see that like just like a different side of Laurie just going just absolutely nuts. I was just not really focusing on Michael. The opening thing was cool.
A little bit more unhinged instead of just being like, depressed.
Yeah. To me, that was sort of like a psychological horror.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of
Well,
psychological in that one too.
I didn't understand the white horse. I just think that just it didn't need to be there.
Yeah. I don't, if I would probably explain it wrong if I tried to explain like what I thought. So I don't, whatever the dream sequence is going to be, but the whole premise of it being about dreams and like, the song Mr. Sandman by the Chordettes being heavily featured in that one. That song is also in the original sequel, which doesn't really have a
Yes.
dream sequence. So I don't know like what the connection's supposed to be but I think just to your point, like, it gets better the more you watch it. Like that's probably true for most Rob Zombie movies. Like The Devil's
Yeah.
Rejects. The Devil's Rejects is probably the only movie of his that I saw that I liked the first time. The rest of them I needed to watch a couple times. And like Lords of Salem, I remember watching that for the first time and being like, what the fuck is this? And now I think that's my favorite movie of his because I've seen it enough times that like, all the crazy unhinged stuff just, it's just part of it. But I have to stop interrupting you. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. No, I totally agree on that one. But no, Rob Zombies 2, it took me a while to actually like it. The only thing I didn't like about that movie, hey, it kind of just looked like a homeless bum.
Yeah. And I like, I can understand
and he spoke
point
as well.
Yeah.
Like
I
killed it.
At least he only said one word though, right?
Yeah, I think then this just said just die.
Yeah, to Loomis.
Loomis, yeah. Which Malcolm McDowell, by the way, was pretty good Loomis. And I don't really care what anyone says. I thought he was actually pretty good on the first one and on the second one as well.
Yeah, I do like I like the character arc that he has. Like in the first one, you can tell he's just trying to be a good doctor. And then when that all like unravels, you can see that like he's struggling with it and then he becomes a successful author and then it's just all about fame and being a hotshot. Like I do like that portrayal a lot too.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm glad they went another one after that one. He would have rejected that anyway if he got offered to do a third one.
Oh, really?
I reckon he would have rejected it. I don't think he would want to do another Halloween movie ever again.
I thought you said they offered and he did.
No, they offered him to do a crow movie, and he said no.
They should have said no on this last one too.
Have you seen that? That was horrible.
I haven't. I've seen enough, like trailers and clips to be like, yeah, I'm not gonna bother with this.
Halloween. I'm just gonna say that Halloween Ends was better than The Crow.
It's good because Halloween Ends was a good movie.
Yeah. So number 4, I put Halloween 3. I liked it because it was just a different movie. I like the storyline behind it. I like I love the pumpkins, how they just fucking crushed the kids' heads or whoever it was.
Yeah.
In that movie. And that music that kept on playing every time when the thing comes up. Zach was telling me about this when we were talking about Halloween 3. I think he said it was like a backwards. It's London Bridge is falling down like in reverse or something like that.
Yeah, I guess I can hear that.
Yeah,
but yeah, it is a cool premise. Like the silver shamrock masks. I like them. I like the way they look. They're cool, and then it is a little bit weird where it's like, wait, where'd all these bugs come from? But
yeah,
still,
yeah. And Tom Atkins is good in this movie as well.
Yeah,
very good. And I believe Jamie Lee Curtis was in the movie, and I think she was credited on one character that she was like off screen.
Oh wow!
Yes, I can't remember what it was. John Carpenter, I think, was the producer for this film.
Yeah,
as well. But no, I loved it. I believe that was like because I'm gonna go into my next one. Number 3 was Halloween 2 because like Halloween 2, that was a great movie. The way how it ended, I think for me that should have just ended franchise after that one.
Yeah,
And that's the reason why Halloween 3 came along, is they wanted to do something different, but underneath the Halloween name.
yeah, which I don't know. I think so much of the franchise is because of the time that it came out. Like the second one came out in 1981. They tried to say, "Hey, this is over," but then Friday the 13th was just taking off. Nightmare on Elm Street was just taking off, and it was all about the sequels. And it was all about the characters. So it was all about, oh, we have to do more. We have to do more. Like everybody wants the next sequel, more of the killer. I think that if Halloween came out more recently, and then the sequel was Halloween 3, where it was the title, but the anthology was something completely different, I think it would be perfect and people would love it, because you see that is more in line of what you see, like with American Horror Story, where every season is something completely different, but it's still American Horror Story. Like that would be a lot more successful in the Halloween franchise now than it probably was then, because back then people just wanted more of the same thing.
Yeah. Do you reckon if they got rid of like the timeline and made it into like Halloween 1, 2, H20, and then 2018 Kills and Ends, you reckon that'll be a decent franchise if you just scrap off Halloween 4, 5, 6, and 8?
Yeah, for me personally, I think I'm just trying to think back of how I ranked it, and yeah, I probably ranked those movies higher than the rest. So, I mean, I'd certainly be fine without 4, 5, and 6, and Resurrection. So yeah, probably if that was the timeline.
Because like, I'm not a big fan of timelines of movies, because then you got to watch them in weird orders and everything. No, that's how I know I've just thought about this just then, because it would have been just better if you just had like 1, 2, and then leave 3 as a standalone film, and then do H20, then 18 Kills and Ends, and it'll be a perfect storyline.
Yeah, and maybe that was, everyone has their own different intentions, and that's probably why this franchise, more than any other franchise, does have so many different timelines. But
we should have taken over this franchise.
Hey, it's not too late. There's talks already about doing it all over again. So
please stop, for my sake. So number 3 was Halloween 2. I really enjoyed this one. I was a little late on the originals, because I always watch the reboots before I watch the originals for some reason, and I don't know why. It just the way how my brain works is always like that. I really enjoyed it. The ending was just leaves you on this big cliffhanger, like any other horror movies will do. The opening scene, that's what I remember. It kind of goes off at the end of Halloween 1, which is pretty cool. That's what I liked. Yeah, young Jamie Lee Curtis, amazing. Number 2, I got Rob Zombie's Halloween 1, because acting very similar rankings of what you and I have now.
Yeah.
I really enjoy this movie, only because the backstory was cool. You actually get to see Michael Myers more as a kid, and like see how he actually became, this fucking monster of a human being. How he got out of the asylum and stuff like that. And I liked how he had like all these different masks in his room from all over the years when he was locked up. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that was always a cool shot when they open up the door to his room and it's just plastered on all the walls.
Have you seen the director's cut version of this movie, of that movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, have they?
The rape scene.
Yeah, they cut that one out. Yeah, that's why the movie went for like what 2 hours long. I think it was.
2.5 hours, I think, is the director's cut. It is pretty
Yeah,
long.
yeah. But no, I thought it was cool, man. And then to see Daniel Harris back in the Halloween franchise, playing as was it Annie?
Yeah, Annie Brackett.
Yeah, and the dad, is it Stephen Dorff?
Brad.
Oh no, Brad Dorff.
Brad Dorff. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, Chucky.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Anything he's in, I think I'm gonna like. So it's cool anytime he shows up.
Yeah, I thought the backstory behind that was cool. Cheryl Muzami was great. Even the guy that played Michael Myers, what's his name? He was a wrestler. Tyler Mane.
Tyler Mane. Yep.
Yes. He was amazing in that movie. He's like what 7 foot tall or whatever it was.
Something like that. And I remember people not liking that, being like, why does he have to be so big? And I just remember being like, because it's cool. Like, who cares?
Yeah, the bigger and taller, the more scarier they look.
Yeah, he was. I do think that Rob Zombie's Michael Myers is possibly the scariest he's been in terms of like just sheer menacing nature. Like he would be the one that I'd want to face down with.
And the aging of the mask. Yeah, and the aging of the mask was great too. I really enjoyed that. I thought that was really cool. That's why I ranked it number 2. And that was the first one that I saw before seeing the original one, which I put the original one at number 1 because like how can you not? Because it's an instant classic. I did watch this in 4K. A movie that came out like 30, 40 years ago, and you watch it in 4K. It's so weird, but it's like very detailed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The effects on it's a bit better than like the original because everything's like remastered and everything like that.
Yeah.
I thought it was a fantastic movie. Jamie Lee Curtis was Jamie Lee Curtis first movie.
Yeah.
Was Halloween.
Yeah, she'd only been in like The Love Boat or something before that, right? Just like small TV parts.
But yeah, this was a big major one. Fantastic movie. Obviously, it scared the shit out of everyone back in '78 when it came out. But if you watch it now, it's just corny as fuck. But yeah, do you prefer Rob Zombie? So that's my ranking, which is ours is very similar, apart from the last one. But do you rank Rob Zombie's Mask better than like the aging of the mask, better than like the 2018?
For the long time, I think I would have. I think Rob Zombie's aging is much grungier as to be expected. I don't know. It's tough because, the story of Rob Zombies is that the mask gets placed under a floorboard and it's just left to rot for whatever it is.
Many years.
18 years. Yeah. Whatever years. Whereas in 2018, technically it's aging, but it's like in a police lockup, presumably. So it's like there's a little bit more of a preserving nature. It's just like the latex itself deteriorating. So I think in terms of what makes sense, maybe the 2018 one is better, but I do think that the Rob Zombie one looks cooler. So maybe I prefer the Rob Zombie one.
It was a tough one. Yeah, they're both good. I kind of felt like remember when Scream 5 was just coming out?
Yeah.
Yeah, I swear they copied that from like Halloween and Rob Zombie with the aging of the mask.
Probably. And it's funny because we've I think every time I've been on the show, we've talked about Scream, and I still have not seen the most recent 5, 6, and 7. So I don't even know the reason why they.
Oh, just wait till 7 comes out.
I don't even know the reason why they did age it.
Yeah, me either. To me, it just, I don't know. Because I kind of felt like with 1, 2, 3, and 4, it was perfect. It didn't need to be aged. Like, you can just go to the store and just buy every other the same mask all over again.
Yeah, and that's just it, right? With Scream, it was just like a store mask that, like, it was never the same mask. It was the same mask in terms of look, but it's not like this is the mask that the last guy wore. This is just a completely new mask that looks the same. So I don't know. I don't know what purpose of aging it would ever be.
Yeah.
I mean, part 5, is it a mask that someone else wore, or is it just?
I think it was from somebody that wore it, as far as I remembered.
Okay.
Yeah, from the vault.
Yeah, I own them. I own 5 and 6. I just haven't watched them yet, and I have no reason for having done so other than I just haven't.
You will eventually, and we will do a review on that one as well one day.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So what do you think? What's going to happen with the Halloween franchise now? Because Jamie Lee Curtis says she's done with playing Laurie Strode, though. But then I'm pretty sure she said that she may be coming back for it. We don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, when Halloween ended with Michael Myers being put into like a wood chipper or a meat grinder, wherever that was. So like he's not coming back. So I don't know what they could do as a continuation unless it is like, you know, Halloween Legacy where it's something else completely. I feel like I saw for a time discussions of a TV series, and I don't know if that would have been starting at the beginning again and kind of working it through.
That would have been nice if they did a TV series and stuff in the beginning again, instead of just doing some continuation from all the franchises. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I guess it just depends on like what the purpose of a TV series would be. Like, you know, long form storytelling like television, like the purpose of that, at least when it's good, is because it's all character driven. So like if you were to do Halloween as a TV series, you'd have to have like an episode about Laurie Strode, and then an episode about Annie, and then an episode about whatever the other friend's name is.
Yeah.
But like
unless if they do a TV series and have like a different characters, because that's what they did with this Scream TV series. They still had the Ghostface vibe and stuff, but it was just different character names. But his mask was like really fucking weird in the TV series.
Yeah, that one was because of like licensing issues, I think. But
yeah, I think then after the 3rd season, that's when they brought back the original mask.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know what's next for the series, but I do know that there is going to be a next in the series because idiots like me who say they need to stop, but then keep buying the tickets and going and seeing it so that it makes money is why there's always going to be another one. I think if it were up to me, I think it would be cool if they tried the anthology idea again, where
or maybe another season of The Witch.
Yeah, or just something along those lines where maybe it's just a movie that takes place in a universe where like Haddonfield, Illinois is a real place and like the events of that happen, but you know, so it's like I don't know, adjacent to the story without being the story.
Yeah.
But who knows? They're not going to do that because if they don't have, you know, if they can't put the Michael Myers mask in it somewhere so that they can sell merch off of it, then it's probably not going to be the way that they do it. But
well, the name itself is the one that, you know, brings the fans into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Like it's a cash grab, like all other franchises these days now. Like
and that's why we haven't gotten any more Friday the 13th, is because of all the disagreements between who owns what, and it all comes down to we can't do another one because different people will make different money. Like it really doesn't have anything to do with story, character, anything. Like it's all, like you said, cash grab, and us fans are just left in the wings.
I do remember that story, that headline that was going around for about a year or so like that. I think it's already been settled.
The Friday the 13th one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think different parts of it have been settled. I still think that there's
more to it.
Yeah, because I think like if I remember correctly, like one person owns Jason Voorhees and one person owns Crystal Lake and another person owns the likeness of the mask and another person owns like something else of the franchise. So like I think maybe parts of it are settled, but not all of it enough to where it could still be the same universe. Like there would still have to be a payout somewhere that somebody doesn't want to make.
Well, if they were going to do another Friday the 13th movie, it has to be Kane Hodder.
Yeah, that'd be cool to see. And that's another one too. Like, would I want to see the sequel to, Jason Goes to Hell, or do I want to see a sequel to, obviously not Jason X, because it would have to be like the year 2100 to do that. But
yeah,
do we want to go back to Jason Takes Manhattan and do that movie sequel, or do we start over, or do we, same thing with Halloween where we just pretend like none of it happened and we just start with part 2? Like, I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do.
Or they can do what they did with the Aliens and Saw franchise.
Yeah, I still haven't caught up on Alien ones either, even though you've told me multiple times.
It's really good.
That I need to watch. Yeah,
it's on Disney Plus if you got it. I've seen it twice already. It's one of those movies I can rewatch again because it's got a really good storyline to it.
Yeah.
I remember I watched that in theaters as well. Me and a mate went and watched it, and he was explaining to me the timeline, because there was a timeline for this whole Aliens movie trilogy. So I believe the timeline goes Prometheus, Covenant, then Aliens, then the new one that came out recently. Then it's Aliens 2, 3, and then Resurrection.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then you got Aliens vs. Predator. But I think Aliens vs. Predator was in between the Predator movies, I believe.
Yeah, it would have been, because like the first Predator came out in 87, I think.
Yeah.
Second one came out in the 90s, but it's like a futuristic Los Angeles. And then Alien versus Predator is modern day to that time. So yeah, I don't know the timeline. That's just what's funny about all of them, and I think that's probably what turns off a lot of people to some of the bigger franchises. It's like, I don't want to have to watch 7 other movies to understand this movie, or to have to, watch this one and not understand 60% of it, because it's all a build up to something else.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that's what's going on in the movies these days now. They're even doing prequels from like 30 years ago, or reboots. It's like they can't come up with anything else anymore.
But I think that's why I haven't watched the new Alien, and probably why I also haven't even watched Scream, because like it's been so long since I've seen the other movies that I feel like I need to
watch them.
Yeah, like Aliens, the sequel, is probably the only Alien movie I've seen more than once. Well, that's seen the
that
first
is a good movie.
Times.
Yeah,
but like, I think Covenant, I watched I think I saw that one like on TV, so it was commercialized, and I saw like maybe half of it, and I haven't seen Prometheus at all. So it's like, before I can sit
Yeah.
down and watch this one, I actually have to watch 4 others first, and it's just
Don't worry. Before I saw the new Aliens film, I kind of skipped Prometheus and Covenant, but then I watched Aliens, the first Alien movie, then Aliens, and 3, then Resurrection in about a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's all I do now, man. I'm getting old. Once you get old, you just want to like chill and watch movies.
Oh yeah. I know.
But yeah. I want to jump into Nosferatu because you and I have seen it, and you said you loved it before I went and saw it. I rewatched it again, and I still love it, eh?
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I like everything that Robert Eggers has done. The only thing of his that I haven't seen yet is The Northman, but I don't know. He's such a good director with atmosphere, just making you really a part of the movie and a part of the the scenery and the timeline that all of those takes place in. Like you don't really get it's easy to watch something that takes place in a different time, especially something from so long ago, and you just kind of like I don't know. You can see through the facade that it's just all make believe, and I don't really feel that way with his movies. But yeah, I like Nosferatu a lot. I'm glad that vampires are scary again.
Yeah.
I like his.
William Dafoe was good in that movie too.
Yeah, I liked his characters. I like his approach to trying to draw a lot from history. You know, the character design of Count Orlok is that he's supposed to look like a Transylvanian nobleman. So
I didn't like the look though, to be honest.
I don't know. I think it's cool. I think because I can appreciate the purpose, I guess, and that it makes a lot of sense that he's going to have a big goofy mustache and a comb over, like because that's what everyone during that time would have looked like.
Well, I was reading the comments from that, and so I remember I was going through a comment, and then someone said that why does Bill Skarsgård always going to have like a receiving headline with a big head? Because it's sort of like that with it.
Yeah, Pennywise, big forehead.
Yeah, and this one as well. Like it's becoming his thing now.
Yeah, which is cool. You know, it's if we're gonna have if this generation is gonna have their own iteration of Lon Chaney, you know, where there's gonna be the guy who transforms into something for every movie, like it's cool to see.
Yeah,
because he does a good job of it. So
it was good. I really enjoyed it. There's only every time me and a mate was watching the movie, there's always be that one scene that didn't have to be in there. The one scene that didn't need to be in that movie, and me and my mate talked about this. It was the naked chick on the horse. Why was that there?
They were sacrificing her.
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah, so
I kind of feel like that she didn't need to be there for some reason.
So you know, what's his name? John is his name Jonathan? So in Dracula, that character is Jonathan Harker, but I forget what his name is in Nosferatu. But he's on his journey. He comes into this town of gypsies, which is I don't know. I guess that's a bad word now, but I don't know what else they're referred to as. But this town of traveling, whatever, and he says the name. And that's when they're all like, you know, don't speak of this. This is evil. You can't go anywhere near there. And, you know, my take on it was that, you know, he goes out, he sees them in the woods. They unearth that vampire when they drive the stake through it. And she is a virgin that they're sacrificing to keep him away from coming and killing the rest of them.
That makes sense now then, because like when I saw that, I'm like, why is that even there? But now how you explained it made more sense. The opening scene to that movie was pretty good.
Oh, the like the flashback, she's having the dream, and
Yeah.
yeah, and that again, like my take on it is that is how the connection is made. Is she's basically some horned up teenager and just really wants to get down with someone, and so she's like giving herself away, and this other predatory spirit entity of the vampire latches onto that. So that's how their bond is created, where she's basically turning herself over to him willingly, and that's what draws the tie, so that many years later he comes back. So it was a little bit odd, I think, as I was watching it, to try to like understand what the connection was. But I think years later, when he starts getting closer and then they're like having those interactions with each other, that's how it's explained, at least to me, is that the rest of the movie doesn't happen without the beginning.
Yeah. She was actually really good in that movie. I was a little worried that she might suck because obviously it's Johnny Depp's daughter.
Yeah.
And I haven't really seen any other movies. Any other movies of her, except for one maybe, and I can't remember what one it was. But yeah, I loved it. And the guy that was supposed to be like her, what's that guy's name? How he goes to the Nosferatu's castle or whatever it is, and he signs the paper or something like that. He made a deal.
I forget the actor's name. It's not.
Yeah,
Hutton or something like that. Timothy Hutton.
I think so. Yeah, I swear he's like in. I swear all he does is like vampire movies.
Yeah, he was
on like Nicolas Cage vampire movie.
Yeah, Renfield.
That another great movie. I fucking love that movie. Now he was good in it. My mate throughout the movie was like, this guy just can't take a break and stop being Nosferatu's bitch.
Yeah. And again, like that is how that story is played up. She gives herself over to him, promises herself to him, and so that years later, the guy that owns the land title company is like a servant of Nosferatu, of Count Orlok. So they come up with this idea of a land sale. So they send the husband of the wife, and so the paper that he signs isn't actually related to the deed of the house. He's signing over the deed of his wife, the Count Orlok. So it does there is a lot of that movie, especially with it being like dialogue heavy and the dialogue being of the period, where you're just kind of like, wait, what is going on here? Just because my dumb American brain has to like process things as it's happening. But like, it's easy to see, like, once you see the whole picture of like, oh, that's what that scene meant. That's why this was there. This is why that thing had to happen that way.
Well, that's the reason why I rewatched it again. So not because it was such a great movie, but then I kind of felt like I missed out some little things in that movie.
Yeah.
I thought like there was some parts in the movie that kind of made me fall asleep a little bit. Because some of it was just kind of dragged on. There was one scene that I did not expect to happen, is when he killed those two kids in the bedroom.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
that was so unexpected.
I saw that in theaters with my wife, and the scene, she wakes up, she hears the kids screaming, and you're just like, oh, I know it's coming, and then she opens the door and he's standing there, and they're both dead. I just like looked over at my wife, like, didn't see that coming.
No, not at all. Like, I was just like, damn, shit, kids are involved. But no, I think he's going to be doing another movie called Werewolf or something like that.
Yeah.
Is that a reboot or is that?
No, it's going to be My understanding is it's going to be an original film. Similar
Awesome.
thing where it's going to be like 1600s or something like that.
Yeah, he seems to be really good at that.
Yeah, well, I heard a quote of his recently that he has like no interest in making a movie that has like cars or cell phones. Like, so
No, that's good.
We'll never see anything, you know, beyond 1700s from him potentially. But yeah, I think whatever he is gonna do, I'm gonna latch onto it and be a fan of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Looking forward to it. I'm actually looking forward to 28 Years Later.
Yeah, that looks like it's gonna be pretty good too.
Yeah, I've seen 28 Days Later, and then I kind of just stopped after a while, and then my mate was just like, "Watch 28 Weeks Later." After we saw the short teaser of 28 Years Later, he goes, "Watch 28 Weeks Later." Yeah, it's so good. So yeah, I watched it, and that opening scene when he just ditched the fucking the old people, the kid and the mum behind, he just like fucking ran.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen that one, but I have always liked both of them.
Yeah, and I was just saying to myself, like, dude, that's a dick move, bro. You should never do that. Like, just leave them behind.
Yeah.
But the whole movie was good, and it's always good to see something a little different in that type of genre, and like, you know, fast running zombies. To me, that's fucking scary, bro. Like,
yeah,
super scary. But cool, man. That was our little rant on movies, but then also our ranking for Halloween.
we did it.
We did it in an hour and 21 minutes.
And 4 months late.
Yeah, and 4 months late. But it's okay. Once this episode will be released, I'll post it up on October this year. But cool. Awesome. Corey, thank you so much. You got merch, which I bought too, by the way. If anyone hasn't bought merch from this man right here, he's got some merch. Just long sleeve t-shirts for now.
Yeah, that's it for now. I just had I don't even know what possessed me to do it, but I just like, I'm gonna get some shirts made. So I did that, and it's very simple. It's a very basic design, which I tend to gravitate towards. Like, I just like easy stuff, like the little logo, the little breast logo sigil that I made up. Yeah, the stuff's cool to me. So yeah, everybody, appreciate you buying it. Everybody else, if you're bad with finances, come check out my stuff and make sure you pick up a shirt as well.
Yeah, man. So you can buy his ticket for Australia, but and it's a comfortable fit too.
Good.
Yeah,
it's always weird with long sleeve shirts. Yeah, like either the sleeve's too long or the body's too short. Like, you never know.
Yeah, because I'm between a medium and large, but since I've sort of bulked up a little bit, it's a large.
It's a good problem to have, to be bulking up.
Yeah, I know, but like sometimes like medium shirts make my shoulders look bigger.
Yeah,
so there you go.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and the biceps look a bit bigger. But yeah, so new music coming out soon. You gotta have merch. Yeah, it's awesome, dude. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you all next time. And make sure you follow this man, Mr. Valkyrie AD, aka Corey Thomas, on all social medias, and go check out his music if you like some really doomy, thrashy death metal riffs. Does that sound like cool? That sounds about right.
Yeah, sure, close enough.
If you like early Trivium, yeah, but that's
what I'd like.
All right, man.
Yeah.
Signing off. Yeah, awesome. Well, until next time, everyone. See you all next time.